Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up, guys?
Hey, it's great to be here.
Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. So, Investor Thrive Nation, we have Kory Roisum and his dad here, and we're about to dive in on the origin story of Tom Roisum, and he kind of got us started in all this, right, Kory?
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then also how he got into real estate, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, so
Where it all began.
Where it all began, and honestly, guys, we attribute a lot. We don't probably tell you, but we attribute a lot of getting into this, our success, to you. Because I didn't know anything about real estate until he told me, and then I was like, maybe he doesn't know. No offense, but I was like, I don't know if he knows that much. But then he was like, my dad does, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. That's all it took.
Yeah, so he got, I guess, to just jump in.
Yeah, let's just dive right in. But by the way, guys, we have a bunch of podcasts, a bunch of information. So please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content like this. But let's just dive right into it. The origin story of the OG. Go to investorthrive.com right now to check out some of our free training on how you can make money as a real estate investor, or schedule a time with me so we can chat about our mastermind mentorship and how we can help you learn how to wholesale nationwide and grow your business.
So like I was saying, I got in started in 2015, and he had started before that, obviously, because I got started because of him. And I told Nate about it. We've kind of talked about our origin story a little bit.
Yeah.
But we got into it 2018. Me and Nate started wholesaling full time. And we got into it because I had done it a little bit before, and I started doing it because my dad started doing it. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you needed to get into real estate, right? Like you had a job.
I had a job. Yeah, I was making some money, and but
tell the people what you do, by the way, or what you were doing.
I'm a physician. My specialty is pathology.
Okay, and what is that for the Investor Thrive Nation that has no idea?
I basically look at tissues under a microscope and decide whether it's cancer or not.
Nice.
So I work with other physicians, other surgeons, and stuff that take stuff out of people.
Do you like it?
I like it. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Okay.
I like that I don't have to see patients.
Yeah,
as goofy as that sounds.
Is that just you in the lab? I have no idea what your day-to-day would look like.
Yeah, so I go into the lab, and then so I'll probably look at anywhere from 20 to 30 cases. And then maybe out of those 20 or 30, I'll see like 2 or 3 cancers probably a day.
Wow.
And then issue reports, and that goes out to the physicians who sent me the tissue, and then they talk to the patient about what's going on with them.
Go ahead. Do you do any autopsies?
No. We really don't do those anymore, hardly. There are some autopsies being done, but most pathologists don't do autopsies anymore. And you're kind of thinking of probably forensic autopsies, the...
From CSI?
Yeah, CSI stuff. I never did that. That's a different specialty. I mean, it's part of pathology, but it's additional specialty. It's more of a medical examiner type thing, and they work at medical examiner offices where I just work in a hospital, typically.
Cool. So when you're looking at these specific, you said 20 to 30 cases, right?
Yeah.
Are these does each case have like a person's name? Like, hey, this is coming from Jody, or do you specifically know who
Yeah. So you know their name, their age, and you're going to get some clinical information about them too. Okay. Yeah. So we take all that information, and then we look and we figure out what we're seeing under the microscope. And sometimes we need radiology. Sometimes it's just pretty straightforward what it is. But other times we need to call the physician who sent it and get some more clinical information.
Cool.
To know what's going on.
Is it just you in there that's making the final decision, or do you have to run it by maybe a couple other doctors?
No, it's just me.
Wow. So it's
got a lot of pressure.
A lot of weight on you.
It is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because most people. So pathology is kind of the end of the line. Mm-hmm. So you might have some, a patient might have some issue, or they hurt somewhere. Mm-hmm. So they go to their physician, and then the physician tries to figure out what it is, maybe sends them to radiology. Radiology does an x-ray of it. Radiology says, yeah, it might be this, it might be that. We should probably do a biopsy of it. So then they biopsy it. So nobody knows what it is yet.
Wow. Has to go through a lot of hands.
Yeah, so they biopsy it, send it to us, and then we tell them what it is.
Oh. You're the last line of defense.
So if we're wrong, that's a bad deal.
Yeah.
If we're wrong, it's bad.
Yeah. But you're never wrong, right?
Well, yeah, everybody makes mistakes, obviously.
That's true.
But what we do is, so hopefully you know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And so if I don't know something, so I look at probably out of 100 cases that I look at, I probably send like anywhere from 10 to 15 to somebody else who specializes in that area that I'm looking at on that particular patient. So yeah, I don't diagnose everything. just the things that I know.
Do you send it to him to verify, or do you send it to him because you have no idea what's going on?
Both. Sometimes just to verify, like, I think it's this. You usually have an idea. Sometimes, rarely you don't have any idea what it is.
Yeah.
You just send it off to, like a Mayo Clinic or, somebody like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing to learn about what you're doing, because I have no idea how that works.
I honestly didn't even know that much.
Nobody does.
That's why podcasts are fun. You kind of dive
nobody
deep
does.
in there. So it sounds like you liked your job.
Yeah.
And you still like it.
Yeah.
What made you think about getting into real estate when you were doing that?
Well, so I looked at the downturn in 2008, and I was looking at like my money and what I'm doing with my money, and I was just headed in like mutual funds and stuff and a 401k.
Got it.
And I thought, is that a great way to keep all your money in that? You never know what the economy is going to do and that kind of thing. So then I started looking at other things to do, and real estate was pretty interesting to me, like fixing houses and stuff. So I had started another business, and in that business, a guy that was working in that business, he had actually flipped a couple of houses. So I talked to him a little bit about that, and said that I might be interested in doing some of that too. So our first, and I don't even remember what the years are. So this is probably like maybe 9 or 10. And he comes to me one day and he says, "Hey, I got a house. We can flip it."
Just like that.
Yeah. I go, well, tell me about it. He goes, "It's $12,000. This is in Hannibal, Missouri, which is like north of St. Louis, about an hour.
Sounds like a nice price point.
He goes, "This is." Missouri is pretty cheap. I mean, it's and this was quite a few years ago. So like a normal like entry level house in Missouri or in Hannibal at that time was probably like 110 or 20 probably. So these are pretty inexpensive houses, right?
Yeah.
She says, "I got a house for 12. A house for 12. We probably need to put 10 in it."
Wow.
So I say, so we go and look at it, and so we end up buying it. A little more to that story. So I came home one day. I said, "Hey, Carla," which is my wife. I said, "Hey, where's our checkbook at?" She goes, "What do you need the checkbook for?" "I'm going to buy a house." I'm going to buy a house.
You just told her how it was.
For $12,000.
Oh,
It'd
wow.
be nice just to write a check for a house.
So
Personal check.
we ended up buying that house, and we were pretty excited about it. And we ended up actually doing a fair amount of, we did some of the work ourselves. I realized.
Which most people probably do in the beginning, right?
Oh, man, that was
Was that the one on top of the hill?
Yeah.
That must have been
It was
2012, because I helped with
That's
like
probably
the demo, and I helped
that's probably right.
fix that up a little bit.
There you go.
So I had my kids over there
Yeah.
helping and stuff, and it was kind of fun. But man, it turned into work pretty fast.
Yeah.
Pretty fast.
Well, the
more
demos
work than I wanted to do.
The demo's usually where you're thinking it's going to be fun, and then you got to pick it up, and then it's downhill from there.
No, it wasn't the demo. It was
Well-
actually like painting and that kind of stuff.
that can
that
can
just
be
a
tiring.
couple hours of painting. I had pretty much enough of fixing houses.
Yeah, seriously.
But we ended up selling that for, I don't know what we sold it for, actually. I think we made like 10 or 12 or 13 on it, which we were pretty excited.
Yeah.
We were
And
making
did you
money.
split that?
Because it took a lot longer than basically I think we did split it.
Yeah.
I had the guy that was working with me, we were basically partners. We never really had a contract, but through the years we were basically 50-50 partners. So that was kind of the beginning of that.
Wow.
So we did some more flips like that, some kind of cheap houses. We actually built a house. We flipped a pretty nice house in Phoenix. I think we bought it for like $225 and sold it for like $3 something, made $40 on it, something like that.
Wow. And you said you built one, like a new construction?
In Hannibal, we built a new construction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from the ground, you bought the lot and
Yeah.
got the permits and everything?
Yep, that was a mess.
How was that?
It was terrible.
That's that.
So-
What'd you end up making on it?
Probably 30.
But a lot of work.
Yeah, it
to
was
make
like
that
6
30?
months of work. And I didn't do any of it. But the guy that was working with me, he did a lot of the work. So it took a lot of his time away from anything else that we could have been doing. So I don't advocate doing that.
So it sounds like to me, you had some discretionary income that you were trying to decide whether you should put in a 401k and other savings, and you're like, let me put it into real estate. Is that kind of what happened?
I wanted to build a business. That was really the impetus for it. I wanted to build like a real estate business, where I would buy houses and actually at that time I didn't know what wholesaling was. So all I knew was, fix and flips.
Yeah. So
At
when
the
did you get
time.
into the wholesaling? When did you find
How
out
did you
about
learn
that?
about it?
I don't even
Just
know.
reading, studying, looking online.
Maybe reading about it, you know. And then we didn't really want to do it in Hannibal because the rents were like $300 and $400 a month.
Wow.
So we didn't really see how we're going to make any money off of that.
Yeah.
So we went down to St. Louis, where you can buy back in the day. You could buy a house down in there, pretty much like all fixed up for about $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd rent for probably $750, $800.
That's a great return. Yeah.
Now the renters aren't the
they're not.
highest quality renters, which is a major issue, as far as like return on your investment.
Shout out to what was his name, Santino or Santiago? What's that guy? The guy we went and he showed us around the property. Perez.
Oh, Perez.
Shout out to
Perez.
Perez. He
yeah.
goes. He'd go collect that cash, that rent money in person.
That's right,
wouldn't
Perez. Yeah.
Were most of the rents cash? Did most people pay rent in cash?
Oh, that's a good. We didn't own that many houses. Most paid in cash. Yeah, most paid in cash.
I'd be afraid to go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's rent.
We never took a check. Well, that's not true. There was one guy we took a check from. He paid every month. He was awesome.
And check is because they'll bounce, possibly, or
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. You don't take a check.
Yeah. So
money order.
Yeah, definitely.
Cashier's check. Pardon?
Venmo.
I'm sure Venmo's fine if they can figure it out.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
I'm sure that'd be fine now if they can figure it out.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
So now you said back in the day you could get homes for 30 that were rented and ready to go. What is it? Do you know the scope now? What it looks like?
Yeah, it's probably in the 40s, low 40s for the same house now.
Really? Okay, still
it's not that much more.
Not that crazy, but
No.
so you're still dealing with
Still a
bad
great return.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to have like the right property management. Otherwise, it's a joke to try to make money.
So you started flipping. You flipped like what, 3 or 4, 5 or 6?
Yeah, probably 5 or 6. We did one in Phoenix, we did one in Atlanta, and we did one in Tacoma, Washington.
Wow. I mean, these are all virtual flips where you weren't physically there?
Yeah, to a large degree.
Did you lose money on any of them?
No, actually, we never lost any money on any of them.
That's impressive.
Good track record.
Yeah.
So you did 5 or 6 flips. When did you start wholesaling? And how did that?
After we got tired of doing the flips.
It's usually what happens,
It's so
right?
much work.
Yeah.
It's so much work.
Yeah, I think if you don't have like a designated team, you're always looking for somebody, right?
Right.
Especially if you're bouncing from Tacoma to Atlanta.
Right.
I mean, you're really looking. That's why I feel like a nationwide flip model would be very difficult.
It's hard to find consistent workers here for us even right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't even, like, looking back, I can't remember our rationale. I think we were just trying to find like the market, to like be in, and then once we established like, hey, we want to be in the Tacoma market, like this is the best market in the world, then we're going to stay in it. But
then we never build a team.
We never really found that market.
Well, what do you think about that market? Do you think a market exists that's like the best, or do you think it's just wherever you plant your feet? And
just by definition, there is a best market, but the chances of you finding that market are pretty slim. I think every market is, you can do it in every market.
Yeah,
that probably depends on what you like and what you don't like.
What do you mean?
Like, kind of like if you like higher end flips, different markets will be good. Or if you want lower end, cheaper flips, you want things that will sell easy, or it's maybe it's where it's harder to find a deal.
Right.
Or do you want to take like riskier options where it's harder to sell stuff, but deals are easier to come by?
Yeah, every market's got its own peculiarities, and what's goofy is they always change too. So even if like one market is good at one time for this, it might not be like great for that, 6 months from now, so.
Jerry, I agree with you. I was talking to Jerry. I was talking to him last week, and he was saying that he was in St. George doing new construction, and he was trying to get in the higher end, luxury flips, and he was capped at like 1.5, 2 at that time. So they moved to Scottsdale, where properties were like in the 3s and 4s, so he could make more money. So I think you're right. If you like that luxury high end, then L.A.
West Coast.
You're not going to be able to get that in Midwest if you're trying to go high end.
St. Louis wouldn't even you wouldn't be able to do it in St. Louis, although there are expensive houses, but there's not
There's
that
not
many
a
of
high-end market like that, though.
them. No.
So I have a question for you. With all the research you've done, and obviously you're well versed in real estate, do you have something specifically that calls to your attention now that you're like, I like that? Like, is it wholesaling, fix and flip, high-end luxury flips, rentals, buy and hold? Do you have something that you like over anything?
Well, what I'm doing right now, so just to kind of finish off maybe the story. So then we went to wholesaling. And the reason we went to wholesaling is because St. Louis, that market down there, like we said, we could buy a house for $30,000 and rent it for $800 a month. So what we would do is we would go in and try to buy them for like 10 and 15, turn around, sell them to somebody with the idea that they would fix them up or have their property manager fix them up. And we typically would bring the property manager into the mix with that person that's going to buy. Usually these are out-of-state buyers too. We thought we could maximize our profit by having out-of-state buyers come in and buy them from us versus the people in town who knew that you could get them for $15,000.
Yes, of course.
So they weren't going to buy them from us for $30,000. So we did that for several years. We did pretty well with that. The only problem that it created for myself was at that time I stopped doing pathology, so it wasn't enough money for me just doing the wholesaling to support myself. So after quite a few years, we kind of stopped. I think the best year we had, we probably did a little over $300,000. That's just in gross income.
That's good.
So I don't know exactly what that was as far as like income to me, but it wasn't enough for me to live on.
Yeah, pathology makes good
got
money.
5 kids at home.
Yeah. So
Having you pay for their college and
5 kids at home and somebody, and the 6th was off at college. Yeah.
That's right. Asking
Anyway.
you to pay for everything.
So I got out of it after that for about 3 years probably. I wasn't doing any real estate to speak of, and so what I'm doing right now is land. So I do think that you can really be successful in any aspect of real estate. You just have to get into it and get after it.
Yeah.
And just realize that's not going to be easy.
No matter what.
It doesn't matter what aspect of it you want to do. It is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
I think I don't know what the numbers are exactly for the numbers of real estate agents that get in because they want to make like $8,000 on a house sale. But I think only 50% of them sell like one house a year.
Yeah.
And like 10% of them sell like almost all of them.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of my family members.
So people get into it thinking there's huge money in it, but actually it turns out to be a lot of work.
Yeah, I was just talking to my one of my family members, and they say I think there's 7,000 agents in Utah right now, and a lot of them are noobs, obviously. So a lot of people are getting kind of, I would maybe screwed over by getting a new agent, and they not writing up the right contract, and so man, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But everything always degenerates into work. So just know that going into it.
Well, do you think a lot of people get into this business not thinking it's that much work? Like they're
Oh
getting,
yeah, absolutely. I did. I'm guessing Kory did.
Yes. Yeah.
You probably did.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a lot more work than you think it's going to be.
Well, it's interesting. It seems like the people that set themselves apart from the rest are the ones that can get the right systems and processes. Everyone says that, but like the right people behind to do the amount of work required to really build something out and crush it. Because if you think you can do it yourself, there are those one-off investors that have been investing for 20, 25 years and they're well known in their community. So people bring them deals. They have a good network. But if you're brand new and it's just you, it's going to be hard to maintain, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, it'd be so hard to like just start on your own. Like we had coaching when we started. It was good coaching. I don't know if it took as well as it could have.
Right.
I mean, we've all done coaching, and we all think
we've all done it.
we could have done a better job with the coaching that we had. But
it's
to do it on your own it'd be a nightmare.
Well, usually coaching, they tell you what to do, but unfortunately, they don't do it for you. And that's like the hardest part of the business is doing the actions, changing the behaviors, right? Like changing your behavior to actually take the action. Like me and Kory talk about all the time. It's like, hey, if we were just consistent with making 5 offers a day, everyone in the company, we would be fine. Or not even fine, but we would be crushing it. But there's things that happen where you know that 5
easy to
offers a
not do
day.
it.
Yeah, so easy not to do it. And things, it's the whirlwind. We talk about it in the 4 disciplines of execution. Like, there's just so many
Right.
things that happen. Like, I have virtual assistants that will ask me things, and I'd rather help them, with that minimal task than do something like make an offer sometimes.
Oh yeah, you definitely avoid the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And those are actually the things that you should be doing. The whole procrastination thing is a big deal.
It is a very big
So
deal.
I always, I've thought about coaching a lot. And first off, if you're going to get into something, you got to decide, like, what, I'm going to do this, no matter what. I'm not going to get into it and, like, stick my foot in and see if I like it or not.
Yeah.
You got to, like, commit yourself to being involved in it and to do it, no matter how hard it's going to get. Knowing that it's going to get hard, because, nothing's going to come easy.
Yeah.
You always think of, I remember when I first started coaching, I thought, well, this will be like a recipe, So I'm just going to, the coach is going to hand me the recipe, and then I'm going to follow that, and it's going to be nirvana. I'm going to make all kinds of money. And,
Yeah.
well, even when you're following a recipe, there's still nuance to it, that the only way you can do it is by, like, doing it over and over again, and then you start understanding the nuance, and that's when you can really kind of start making some money.
Yeah, me and Kory have talked about this a lot, how, we've joined many coaching programs, and, and just because one person starts an ad campaign on pay-per-click, it doesn't mean you're going to get the same results, even though they're teaching you exactly the same way they did it. You might have the wrong closer on the phone. You might have the wrong, data. I mean, there's just so many things that someone can show you, but it's never exact.
Right.
Yeah, with our PPC campaign, we had it set up by our mentor. Like, he set it up.
He set it up for us.
Right.
Sean Terry set it up for us.
Almost all of our leads at the beginning were basically robot leads. Like, the phone numbers didn't work, the emails didn't work, and now we've made some tweaks, and all our leads are still small towns. So, like, we have the exact same campaign as he does.
Yeah.
And
But one thing we don't have that's exact is we don't spend $4,000 a day on it.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, even if somebody sets it up, whatever, it's never going to be the same. Like you said, you got different people answering the phone than he's got answering the phone.
But even before
different
someone
scripts.
even comes to answer the phone, it's a completely different result.
It's crazy, isn't it? Same thing with cold calling, right? Like, you pull a list, and you skip trace that data, and you get the cold caller. Maybe that one cold caller I have, for some reason, was feeling froggy and did a better job than the other guy. So that's interesting. It's that's business, right? It's who's the greatest leader and who can help people, build that culture, build that business to get people rolling.
Well, it's always like, you want to tweak the stuff that's not working, and look for better ways of doing it. You can't just come in and it's not going to just work like you want it to work when you first start out. It's a process. You talked about, somebody that's killing it, that's been doing it for like 20 years. Well, I guarantee you, when they first started out, they were not killing it.
No.
They didn't start out killing it. They started out like everybody else starts out.
Yep.
Not knowing what they're doing and spending a lot of money and getting some returns and being unhappy with the returns that they're getting. Everybody goes through that.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't like that, right? But I guess it separates the people who can't stay consistent from the ones that can.
I kind of don't look at it like that. I'm kind of glad it's like that. And if it weren't like that, like, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
And if everybody were doing it, then
it wouldn't be there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. You wouldn't be able to make money doing it, obviously.
That's
true.
That's so true.
So I've kind of come around from, I'm not wholesaling anymore houses, but I'm wholesaling like raw land is what I'm doing right now. I started this about 6 months ago, and I got a coach that I'm working with. So we look for lots that are like within communities. We look for lots that are right outside of communities, like maybe a new development. And we look for, they're not lots, they're just like acreage outside of cities where people want to go and maybe ride motorcycles or do whatever, or put a camper on it or whatever.
Cool.
So this is just like raw land. The strategy behind it is basically it's land that people don't really care about so much anymore. Maybe they inherited it. Maybe they've had it for a long time and just don't use it anymore, paying taxes on it. And, of course, that's not the majority. So you're kind of looking for that 5% of people again,
Just like you,
you know, just like you are in wholesaling. So yeah, you identify. It's so the list that we pull basically. We look for lots. We look for absentee owners in a certain area of the country. We look all over the country too. We basically do it by counties. You can get down into like zip codes and actually like neighborhoods too. But so you look at like the number of solds versus the number for sales. So you don't want it to be a really hot market. You don't want it to be a really cold market. You kind of want it to be somewhere in between. And then you send lists out. And like I've got a couple properties right now that I'm pretty excited about. I'm surprised I haven't sold them yet. But I bought them for $700 each during a development in South Carolina.
Really? Hey, by the way, I got on a call. I was on with helping Jerry Norton with one of his coaching calls, and someone has a 5-acre lot there. He just closed the deal with a lady, and she's like, "Hey, I have a lot for sale, 5 acres in North Carolina, outside of Greenville and Wilmington, and I can't remember exactly. I don't know if you'd be interested, but maybe you could help
Sure.
out. It's just a bunch of woods.
It's a deal.
It's a wooded, yeah. If maybe I could link you up with him because she
Yeah,
wants
that'd
to
be great.
sell.
That'd be great.
She obviously probably wants to. She wanted $55,000 for 5 acres, and if you're getting them at $700, then
Well, it depends, you know.
yeah, maybe you could
I mean,
talk to her.
It just depends. So I'll tell you about 3 of them that I've got. So this one couple own these 2 lots in a development that started about 30 years ago. Kind of went for about 5 or 6 years, and then nobody built there anymore. So people have been paying these POA fees, which you pay no matter whether you've got a house on it or not every month.
Gosh.
And so some people are getting a little tired of paying those after 20 years, which is this couple.
Oh yeah.
And theirs was they had 2 lots on golf courses, and I paid like $690 something for one and $700 and something for the other. Well, they're probably, you know, like retail value, they're somewhere in the $30,000 to $35,000 range.
Wow. Yeah.
And so hopefully we can sell those in the next. We'll probably come down into the 20s on them. But
Have you listed them? Are you going to list them?
Yeah, I've got them listed right now.
Oh, okay, they're listed right now.
Yeah.
And you bought them for
right now.
$700.
Pardon?
You getting a lot of traction?
That's another learning experience right there with the realtor trying to figure out, you know, just what's happening with them.
Yeah.
So his stick is he's telling me like, well, I can't really tell like how many people have like looked at it because nobody can leave cards because it's raw land.
Yeah.
Thinking somehow you got to be able to tell like
Yeah,
if
you
people
gotta
are
somehow-
looking at it, right?
Has anyone called you about it? I guess that'd be the only way, right?
So I was worried that I was gonna lose these because I just had them under contract. So I was worried I was gonna lose these. So I had actually been working out in Florida. So I drove up and bought the 2 lots from this couple. I was probably 5 hours away.
You wrote
so
a check or cash?
What did I do? Actually, I gave him cash. I gave him cash.
For a quick claim deed?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I didn't want to lose them somehow, like have them find some other buyer, you know, that came and
sounds
bought
like a
them,
good
you
deal.
know, so
$700 for
I
land?
was pretty sure I'd get my money back from that.
And if you don't, I mean, chalk it up to
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, how much could I lose?
Yeah. Well, how much are the fees? Do you know every year?
Yeah, it's about $140 a month
That's pretty pricey for
Yeah.
just renting land.
for no house.
For a $700 lot.
For no house, that's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
Because it's on a golf course?
yeah.
we hope you sell
I'm
them.
looking for more.
We want
I'll
you.
sell
We
them.
want to get you back
I'll
here when you do, and we
I'll
don't want to
sell-
hear
I'll sell
about
them.
it.
Hopefully you can get at least 1,000 for each one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
No, I'm gonna. Well, there's no way I'm gonna make less than 25 each on these.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I'll have the realtor to pay. Oh, I'm paying the realtor 10%.
10%.
Yeah, because it's low dollars,
Oh.
so they won't do them for
That makes
less
sense.
than that.
Okay.
If you want them to do anything with them, you know.
That makes sense. Yeah, when you're in that low range.
I had another one that I bought. These were in South Carolina. I had another one, a really good deal that I bought. It was on like a reservoir in Tennessee, right on it. It was probably like 1.4 acres, I think. Had it under contract for $21,000. Talked to another realtor who knew like the area. She said, "Well, we could probably, you know, in a perfect world, get 75 for it." People that have asked for offers, they got to get offers out to.
I wish people were begging us for offers.
Like sitting there right now, you know. And there's probably a couple of deals in there, you know. One of the other interesting things about land is a lot of the stuff that you sell, you'll sell on owner finance. So I'll buy it for $1,000 and I'll put it under owner finance for 10,000. I'll sell it to for 10,000. They'll put 1,000 down or somewhere close to that, and then get $200 a month for whatever the numbers work out to
So
be.
you'll sell it on owner finance, or
Yeah.
you could probably even buy it on owner finance from the seller.
Well, you're buying so cheap though.
Yeah.
That you're not going to owner finance $1,000.
Yeah. I guess the lots get more expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But usually, if they're more expensive, people pay cash for them, so they're not as owner financey.
Okay.
What do you think the missing pieces in your business are right now? Like the top two?
Well,
one or two.
Finding the areas that you want to send mailers to.
It's through mail. It's not
Yeah.
texting, cold calling.
No.
So the right market, you mean?
Pardon?
So finding a good market?
Yeah. Because you got to constantly be looking for them, which includes going on Zillow basically and finding out, the market's based on how many for sales there are versus how many solds there are. So it's got to be a market that is active enough where you can actually sell the property, but it can't be too active where everybody in that market, the owners of those properties, know that the market's hot, so they're not going to sell it to me for $700.
Interesting.
So you
Sounds
got to
like a good
identify
strategy in general.
Yeah, you got to identify the market, which takes a lot of
Yeah.
takes some effort.
Oh, for sure.
Takes some effort.
I bet it does.
And I've got a couple VAs that are working with me right now, so I'm training them to do that stuff.
What are they doing? Making the calls?
Doing comps. Comps takes quite a bit of time. I'm training one guy. These are part-time guys.
How much you paying, by the way?
The one, $3 an hour, doing the comps, and the other $4 an hour.
Are they good?
Yeah, they're gonna. I think they're gonna work out pretty good. I'm just kind of in the training mode right now, but yeah, I think they're gonna work out pretty good. Yeah.
How often do you train them?
The one doing comps, I was training them every day for like an hour. So I'd go to work, and then I'd call them, and then we'd go through, an hour of comps. My slides that I'm supposed to be looking at are sitting right there in front of me.
So you show them. When you train them, do you shadow him and make sure he's doing it correct? Like, how does your training go?
Well, to begin with, we did everything together, and then once he learned a little bit about it, he would go out and find what he considered comps, either the for sales or the sold comps, and he would put them down on a spreadsheet, and then we'd look at them together after he put them all down and determine whether they're actually comped or not. Or there's a lot of nuance to comps. Holy moly!
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of wholesalers fail. Is they don't know how to run comps. Like, they don't know how to analyze the deal.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you know whether it's a deal or not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just guessing.
Because back in the day when me and Kory first started, it was 70% minus repairs minus wholesale fee. If you found that, you had a deal. You didn't really have to think too much about it. But finding that 70% of ARV minus repair minus wholesale fee, good luck.
Right.
That's hard to find.
One of the things that I noticed with the land deal is like calling realtors. That's a really good way to find out what something's worth. Because they know the market like crazy.
So
that helped me a lot.
Are you nationwide on this? Like, is it just randomly getting leads from different areas, or are you honing in on one market?
Well, potentially we can look anywhere in the nation, right? But we find the markets and wherever those markets are. We've kind of focused on Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. We've sent to Oklahoma,
How much mail
Iowa,
you sent out?
Illinois. About 10,000 right now.
That's not that much.
No, not really. What I want to do is send about 1,000 a week. So the last time I sent was probably like 4 weeks ago. We sent 1,800. So that's kind of how, not 1,000 a week that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But I want it to be more stable. And that's why I've got to have somebody that's looking at markets like constantly to see what the best market is, so we can send those out every week.
Wouldn't your coach know which are the best markets to go after, or not really?
No.
Just coaches.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, they could. They
Why don't you
could.
just tell me, boy? Bro.
Well, that's exactly right.
Said,
You know,
I don't know either.
and on these coaching calls, it's like, why don't you just tell me the market? And they go, because you're gonna have to do this on your own. You realize that, right?
Because I don't know.
At some point, you're not gonna have a
I've never
coach.
done it.
You know.
Yeah.
So you need to learn how to do it
So
yourself.
I just took this course that I'm teaching you.
I think we've all asked that question of our coaches. Why don't you just tell me what market to get into?
Yeah, and the answer is they all work and they all take a lot of work.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. Well, it's cool that you kind of went into that and you're doing it with a full-time job.
Have you thought about hiring like a higher level VA?
you mean
might
like
cost a little more.
like an American
Or just, someone.
knows what they're doing already?
Yeah, because
I've
we
thought about
found
it.
some VAs that are really skilled
Well, they're high
in
level.
like the $7 range.
If you can get up to $7, you're getting very, very, maybe even more competent than Americans because great English, very intelligent, and they work very hard.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I've got one right now that's he speaks English. He sounds like you and I.
For $4,
Yeah.
you got hooked up then.
Yeah.
But because they can speak good English doesn't necessarily mean they can get it done. Like
Well,
I'll take.
That's what we're working on
It's
right
not even
now.
the English. It's
to
like
figure that
It's
out.
just the competence overall.
Yeah.
I would say high IQ. If you can get someone with a high IQ,
High IQ that wants to learn and do it.
because
Yeah.
Willing to put in time.
I have a couple of VAs that they get it. They're awesome.
Yeah, you ask them to do something, they don't come every 2 seconds.
It's better than I could have done. It really is.
Oh, really?
It is better.
Well, that's
yeah.
what you wanted. That's
It
what you
is.
want to have.
And I have a team of people that just do it better.
Are
than
these
me.
like detailed type jobs that you're having them do, or do they have to like think on their feet and
Both.
and kind of have an imagination type of thing?
It's
One
detailed.
of the girls that we've had her for 6 months almost, maybe longer. I mean, she's incredible. She goes above and beyond. She does stuff that we don't even ask for. She's great.
That's awesome.
She's pretty much running Investor Thrive.
I would hire somebody like that if I found somebody like that.
Well,
We could
Where'd
probably
you
find- we could
guys
probably
fi-
find someone?
Where'd you guys find them?
we
at?
have a VA placements company. If you
Yeah.
look at,
I'm just gonna start. Hey, that's a really good idea. Maybe I should start that business.
Yes. So
Give me something else to do.
We actually already have started it.
yeah.
Oh, you have?
Well, let me tell you why.
It's part of
Because
Investor Thrive offering.
yeah, so the one who is amazing, she managed a VA placement service of 50 virtual assistants before, so she knows how to structure it. So I said, "You ready to do it again?" So she knows how to do it. She knows the right people to hire, how to put them. So
She had a VA business where she would.
she ran the VA
She is
business for an
like,
American.
I gotcha.
She was like the manager over it.
Is she Filipino?
Yeah.
But she's awesome. She
She's
like
great.
I'm telling you, like we're gonna.
Very organized, very
Hey-
detailed.
Pace Morby has a business. I think it's called Start Virtual. That does. I think it was like $15 million in just a virtual assistant business. So I was like, Ja, look at his website. We're gonna recreate this, and we're gonna do exactly this. And she's like, okay.
Do you
We'll
guys
see if we
know?
get
Do you
there.
guys know the guy who does online? I think I talked to Kory about this. Online PH. It's a virtual assistants out of the Philippines. He's a guy in Utah here. I think his name is Jonas, maybe.
I don't
remember you telling me. I don't remember. his name.
Online PH.
What does PH stand for?
I think
Philippines.
Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the.
Yeah, I mean that virtual assistant gig is legit because I mean really like when me and Kory first started doing virtual assistants, like it was a struggle, right? You had to train them, you had to show them
Yeah.
everything, and as soon as we started hiring and paying a little bit more money, it's like they're great employees, great.
Because if you
Yeah.
pay, our experience, we actually have one. I think we pay her $5. Keva, she's awesome too. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
She does great too. But in that 3 to 4 range, it's really tough to get someone that,
Someone good.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you got one, you got lucky. But I'm telling you,
tons.
but they'll bail in a second if someone offers them 50 cents more. If it so you got to make sure they like the
Yeah.
environment.
Right. Right.
The VAs that work with me, I think they enjoy the environment they work in because we have meetings and they're just loving it. And I'm having a good time too. Hector knows, right?
Well, I
So-
think one of the big issues with VAs, and it's it's really not their issue. It's really like our issue is they want something stable. They want something that's going to be there, not for like 2 weeks and then be gone. You know, they want something they can work at for like years and years, you know.
Yeah, and what I found with virtual assistants is that they're employees. You got to treat them like employees. Like, you know, invite them to team meetings, talk to them like normal. It's not like just like, hey, I'll talk to you in a week, you know. Just like involve them and, you know, chat with them. That's how I treat them. So I think creating that culture for them where they feel like they're part of the team. Because even like our guy Sean, who lives in Atlanta, like if, you know, people being virtual, they got to feel like they're a part of the team.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to fizzle out.
Right.
And I think that's what's happened with a couple of our employees that have quit. Like, you know, Jake, it's just like, I think he just stopped coming to work and then, you know, work from home and then fizzled out. Like, you really got to, again, if you're not going to have an office, you have to create an environment.
Yeah, it's even I think that's a critical thing. Like I've had some VAs that I didn't like communicate with for a few days back in the day. And so you call them up, it's like, well, they're not even there anymore. They thought you quit on them. You know, that's the reason they thought they needed a job.
Yeah,
you know? So they thought you quit. You know.
Yeah. So I have a Discord channel, and I mean, we're talking on the feed, right? The Discord channel. Whenever they need something, they're talking to each other. And I think another thing too is you can put them in leadership roles too, and they feel, you know, they can do it, and they feel like a bigger part of the company, you know. And titles, again, you know, are important, right? Like, hey, you're not just the virtual assistant; you're the executive to the CEO. You know, and that's what Ja put that on her signature: executive to the CEO. That's awesome. And that just sounds cool.
It's a big cultural thing, from what I understand.
Yeah. For
somebody in the Philippines to say like, "Hey, I'm the executive of something," you know. Whatever, it's a big cultural thing.
It's important. It's
important to them.
It feels good to feel important, you know. And if you need to call, you know, the cold caller, the head designated closer or whatever,
come up with your own name.
Yeah. Hey, say everyone choose your own name.
You want to be.
You want me to call you president? Just tell me.
My favorite thing is that they call us boss.
Yeah.
Hey, boss.
Oh, do they?
Well, you know, it's funny. So Ja's running the meeting now for the VAs in the weekly meetings that we do, and they call her boss. They're like, boss, and she's like,
I made it.
And the thing is,
I don't like being called boss. I don't know about you, but
I think it's awesome because it's just like it's not. I think I don't know. That's just not something that happens here. But it was funny because last week or two ago, I was like, all right, everyone choose your titles, whatever you want, and they all were like cracking up, having a great time because they're just like probably doesn't happen very often. And she's like, I want to be the CEO, boss. That's what Jocelyn. I said, you are one day. You're going to run this whole thing.
How about the COO for now?
Hey, make him the CEO. Who cares?
Yeah, go ahead. You're the CEO. You run. You gotta work 24/7 though.
Yeah, really.
No going to sleep.
So, have you guys thought about making partners? Is not the right word, but giving them percentages. You just paying hourly. Everybody hourly.
We do hourly, and then I say for my coaching business, anyone that signs up, I'll give you a percentage. Anyone signs up for the mastermind, so I'm hooking them up on that. When it comes to the real estate business, I think you pay them a commission.
Yeah, I mean there's commissions.
Are they doing commission work? So you're
in ours,
yeah, both sides, yeah. Because I have setters in the investment tribe business. They have lead managers, closers,
acquisition guys.
Yeah.
So you guys think you're right where you want to be with VAs? Like, I think you don't think it can probably get any better. Like because I'm thinking it can get better. It can get better from what I'm doing.
I think I have I have a great team on my end.
It might be able to get better, but our better right now is like 10 times better than what you're dealing with.
Like I can see it being better. You guys don't really see it getting better.
Yeah, if you want,
it could. I mean, you could find better people, I'm sure, but
yeah.
I mean, you could always find someone better, but where you're at, based off like what we've done in the past, just my guessing, is that you're like probably 10 levels below where our VAs are at.
These are better than I'm telling you. You need to sign up for Investor Thrive.
Regroup.
You need to sign up for Investor Thrive VA services.
Do you have an opening in your coaching? Getting some VAs.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you're interested, what she does is great. She just lines up 3 interviews, and she sends you their calls, like their recordings, so you can see how they sound, and then you interview them. And if you want to keep any of them, then you hire them, right? So you're able to do your due diligence. But it's interesting because, like I said, it makes the world of a difference, like hiring the right people. And that's what I've learned from watching and learning from a lot of these mentors is like these guys didn't get there alone. They got there because they were able to.
Right.
I think Jason Lewis, I heard he runs his whole team through virtual assistants.
They leverage other people.
They got to.
You've got to be great. You've got to be great. You've got to be great at that, or you're not going to ever go very far. I mean, you can do pretty well on your own with a couple of people but if you really want to like make some money and leverage your business, you got to have like great people working for you.
Yeah, I've just seen too many businesses now where the guy that you think runs the whole thing, he's got everybody running everything, and he's the face. You know.
Yeah.
You just find out he doesn't even know what's going on.
Well, that's really what you. I mean, I've been watching some podcasts and reading some books and stuff, and you guys probably know who Dan Sullivan. Well, I know Kory does. Dan Sullivan. He's with Strategic
Who,
Coach.
not how.
Okay.
Yeah. Who not how. Anyway, one of the things that he talks about is you became an entrepreneur not to like do everything. Mm-hmm. It was typically you've got ideas on stuff that you want to do, and if you try to do it all to make those things happen, you don't like have enough time in your lifetime to do it. You got to get other people to do the work, basically.
Yeah.
To be able to do the other thing that you thought about doing, so you can go from business to business and have somebody else doing.
And that's what gets me thinking about companies that really want to build and grow. They raise capital, right? They go and do rounds of funding so they can hire high level talent, and that's how they build and grow. And when we started with $0, and we've tried to build by making
everything was $0.
Everything was $0, but it sounds like
though. Let me tell you something about $0. It has its benefit.
You earn your stripes right there.
Well, one of the mistakes that I made is like I had money. Mm-hmm. So it's you don't have the level of desperation for one thing.
That's true.
And then it's always easy to like throw money at it. So it was easy like when we weren't selling any of the houses we had under contract. Well, I had money that I could just keep buying more and more letters, and not really looking at is what we're doing the right thing to do or not.
That's true.
So we could just keep throwing money at it.
That does make sense. That does make sense.
Having money is not necessarily a solution to all your problems.
Well,
sometimes it's nice, but
no, that's great that you said that because I was in the mindset like we just need to hire, just throw more money at it. But you're right, you could get in trouble by just being like,
What you probably needed was the right person to help you solve a certain problem.
Yeah, that and the right mindset. My mindset shouldn't have been like, I can solve my problems with money. It should have been, I can solve my problems by figuring out what the problem is and fixing the problem.
No, 100%. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So,
it's
anyway.
kind of like that quote by Benjamin Franklin. He's like, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes like framing the problem and trying to understand the problem.
Wasn't that Abraham Lincoln that said if I had
to
chop a tree down, I would spend 7 hours. If I had 10 hours, I'd spend 9 hours sharpening and then 1 hour chopping.
That's a version of the same.
Yeah,
same
they're all. I didn't know if Abraham Franklin said that. They're all just copying each other now.
Yeah, really. Hey, that quote, I like that quote, but maybe I can tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I like that one.
And have that quote as mine.
Exactly. Every president's got their own
version of it.
But hey, anyway, I don't know how long we've gone, but it's been a great chat that we've had, and I think
we've covered. Coming on.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of great topics.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Hope to have you back another time. See how the land's going.
Once I sell those, I'll let you guys know. Once I make $25K on each of them.
Take us out to Roost Chris on that dime.
There we go.
But yeah,
I'll send you guys some McDonald's coupons.
Oh, now you're talking. Some Popeye's chicken coupons. But it's been great having you on here. Thanks for kind of showing us the way, getting started, and it's been great.
It's fun watching you guys be successful too. For a short time there, I was worried about you guys. now I'm less worried.
Well, I appreciate it.
When were you worried?
A week ago.
Well, actually, probably I've always been always been worried on some level.
Yeah, that's okay. It's good.
You guys are killing it. So
we're trying to.
I'm proud of you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And
keep up the good work. Of course, I did teach you everything you know. So
That's right.
true.
Yeah, I mean, what we've learned and what Investor Thrive Nation needs to know is you just don't give up. You just keep going. It's consistent action.
got to keep going.
And it's the lack of action is usually probably what gets you where you're not wanting, gets you nowhere.
Yeah, I was thinking about, you got to decide, you got to commit to, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also probably got to have somebody else that's going to help you, like be there to keep you committed.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it on your own.
That's why I think as
so
a
you can
partnership,
have
it's
a coach or
yeah.
a partner or somebody that's going to say, hey, you know what? You told me to tell you, like when you wanted to stop doing it, you were never going to stop. So here I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like get going, get after it because you can be successful, if you just never stop.
Yeah, I agree. That's why coaches. I mean, I think people get into do coaching because they think it's going to be the solution to get them, everything right. But it's not like the recipe.
It's a piece of it.
It's a piece.
Yeah, it's a piece of it. It's kind of a critical piece of it too.
Yeah.
It's not like a small piece. It's a critical piece that can help you. I was just reading. I was reading another book. Actually, Dan Sullivan was one. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we kind of look at, like this is where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be making $1 million a month. Wholesaling. Or whatever the number is.
Right.
And you're always looking at that $1 million a month, and you're always like disappointed because you're not making $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Well, what he talked about was, stop looking at the $1 million a month. Look at where you started from,
Oh God.
and look at like how far you've come.
Yeah.
And that gives you energy, and that kind of gets you excited about moving forward instead of always looking at the $1 million a month or whatever your goal is, and being disappointed or being upset or irritated or whatever.
I agree with that statement 100% because I think we're always trying to strive for that goal, and
Right.
you don't really realize that 2 years ago me and Kory were kicking a squatter out of a house.
True.
So it's just crazy that
Those are awesome
Yeah.
stories, though. yeah.
Or for example, last Friday I interviewed Jerry Norton on my podcast,
Yeah.
and 2 years ago we were sitting in his fast track program. Paid him
Right.
to teach us, and now I'm able to interview him, and we have a good relationship, and I help him out,
Right.
and he helps me out. So it's crazy, right? When you look
Right.
back at that, you're like,
Right.
that's sweet.
If you look back, you're thinking, well, back 3 or 4 years ago, you had no idea, or there was no chance you were ever going to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Or that you're going to be in his network.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all about leveling up, and I think everybody, Investor Thrive Nation, needs to know, like you said, don't always focus on the end goal. Look back and see where you come and appreciate the journey.
Appreciate the progress that you've made. Pat yourself on the back and then get back to work.
That's it. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks. It's been fun.